Shivaya, Shivaya Namo. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namo.
How would you know if we start talking about old village temples and how we worshipped them, how we went and what kind of food we ate and all that? You think the culture of a people is confined to the temples that they build or the universities or the cement and stone blocks, buildings that they build? Culture is the people, how they practice it. thought we should start something based on the temple, how the temple is running, so that the young people, whether they are from Sri Lanka or India or Singapore or Holland or Denmark, doesn't matter. They should have an exposure to this thing and understand why. And what is the symbol of a Saivite? The Vibhuti, isn't it? So I called it VSI, Vibhuti, Saivite immersion. And it was started to teach kids like you the culture, the ups and downs of how it is and what the worship is like, how they dress, how they ate.
Purne sada purne Shankara prana vallabhe Jnana vairagya siddhyatam Nisha Devi cha Parvati.
How they sang. And Vibhuti also means the grace that comes from a deity.
Namaskaram, everyone. Welcome back to our Sacred Rites and Rituals of Sanātana Dharma Learning Series, which is a joint presentation by the Sri Vidya Temple Society of Rochester, New York, USA, and Ashtanga Yoga Mandir of Sri Lanka. These lectures are conducted by Sri Chaitanyanandanada, affectionately known as Ayya. Ayya is the founder and Peethadipati of the Sri Vidya Temple. Both Ayya and Amma, Srimati Jnanamba, have dedicated their lives to the noble mission of preserving and spreading the knowledge of Devi worship and the rich traditions of Saiva Bhakti. As seen in the video, Vibhuti Saivite Immersion, which is also known as VSI, is a 1-week-long overnight program conducted by the Sri Vidya Temple Society on the temple premises for kids that are ages 10 to 18. This program began back in 2004, and since then, this program continues to grow as it is a platform for younger learners in our community to experience an engaging and immersive learning program for children from all around the world who are interested in learning more about our rich traditions. With the blessings of Ayya, Amma, and the Devi, Vibhuti Saiva immersion has been running for 17 successful years. With their blessings, this will be the 18th year of VSI. This year, VSI will run from Saturday, July 30th, 2022 to Saturday, August 6th, 2022. During the VSI program, staff strive to immerse the children in rich traditions of Saiva temple culture. As our temple is a learning temple, it is an ideal place for kids to get involved and truly experience the wealth of Saiva philosophy, worship, and plenty of hands-on learning opportunities for our young learners. Through inspirational and educational classes with Ayya, presentations from guest speakers, and sessions with the counselors, each child is always encouraged to find his or her own personal connection with Saiva culture and devotion in a fun-filled setting. Spots are limited. If you are interested in becoming a member of the counselor program or in our junior counselor program, which is for children that are ages 16 to 18, the registration for the program is now open. If you're interested in registering your child for the camper program, which is for children ages 10 to 15, registration opens on April 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Just a reminder to all that all content being discussed in these sessions will be posted after the conclusion of the respective topic on our webpage. Again, a few housekeeping reminders before we begin today's session. Please use the question form to share any questions you might have pertaining to the content discussed. For those viewing our live stream, our question form can also be found on our webpage, which is srividya.org/AYM-lectures. At this time, we will hand it over to Ayya to begin today's session.
Hamsat Siva Soham Hamsaha Hasaka Frame Hasakshamalavarayum Hasaum Sahakshamalavaraim Sahau Swarupanirupana Hetave Swagurave Sri Annapurneshwari Amba Sameda Sri Amrutanandanada Saraswati Mahapattaraka Mama Sri Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpajami Namaha. I prostrate before my Sri Guru, Sri Amrutanandanada Saraswati of Devipuram, India, and implore that he sit on my open heart lotus and speak through me. Namaskaram, everyone. Ulahelam unarndu odat karyavan, nila ulaviya neermari verniyan, alahid jyotiyan, ambalattaduvan, malar sirambadi valti vadanguvam. This is from the Tirutondar Periya Puranam. Ulahelam unarndu odat karyavan. The entire world, the population of this earth, unarndu, they should realize him. Odat karyavan, he is fit to be worshipped by those who have realized it. Nila, moon, the one who wears a crescent moon on his head. Nila Vulaviya Neermali Verniya. In his matted locks, the moon is traveling. And those locks are wet because of Ganga. Nila Ulaviya Neermali. Neer is water, Mali, copious quantities of water. Alahil Jyotiyan, he is effulgent on his own, not with the aid of a second agent. On his own, he is effulgent. Please note that my Paramaguru is also called Swaprakashananda, the one who is effulgent, the effulgence coming from within. Alahir Jodiyan, Ambalathu Aduvan. Ambalam, two meanings. There are several ambalams. Ambalam can mean a stage. Ambalam can also mean your heart. So the one who dances in your heart, that is the most appropriate meaning, because there are other ambalams. Chidambaram, for example, is Ponnambalam. Pon is gold. Like that, there are Valli Ambalam, silver, Sabai. Then Tamra Ambalam, copper. There are many of them. But here, Ambalattaduvan, Malar, Silambu, Adi, Balti, Vananguva. Malar, the feet that are like lotus flowers. Silambu, the one who wears a anklet on his ankle. Balti, let's praise his feet and worship him. This is from the Periya Purana. It is appropriate to sing this in any Shiva temple, or Subramania temple, or Devi temple. Now, we were talking about Somas Kandamurti, where Devi and Swami are in Sukhasanam, and in between them, the baby Murugan, Bala Murugan, is there. The Skanda Puranam will detail the story of Subramanya, how he was born, how Tara, Asura, Surabhadma, and all these Asuras were creating havoc. And Swami promised, because Surabhadma had already gotten a boon that neither the Swami or Swami Shakti or anybody else, animal, a human being, nobody should be able to kill him. He forgot child. So Swami brought forth from inside him, he brought forth Subramanya and equipped him with, the Devas gave all their arms to him. The Devi gave Panchasakshari in the form of Suddha, pure knowledge. Surabhadma is the embodiment of a clouded ego, clouded with the Ashtapashas. She gave him the veil and he used it to destroy him. But this story, in Kailasam, in the abode of Shiva, the Somas Kandamurti is already there even before the advent of Murugan. So it is an eternal form. Last week I was telling you the very personal interaction that I had with the Somas Kandamurti that is even to this day in the Koneshwaram temple. Temple in the northeastern quadrant of Sri Lanka, perched on the edge of a very high cliff about 300 feet. And in that temple, in 1614, the Portuguese destroyed it, and before, somehow the Brahmins in the temple found out that they were coming, and they spirited this statue and buried it. And I told you the story of how when the Saiva Mahasabha decided that they were going to rebuild the temple, the next day morning, today evening the resolution is passed, next day morning municipal workers hit something with their hose when they were digging for something. And they carefully removed the thing to see Somas Kandamurti was buried upside down. The Murti itself, as far as I can remember, is about 2.5 to 3 feet wide and about 18 inches tall. Exquisitely carved, exquisite carving. This is my opinion and mine only, remember. I have visited quite a few temples in South India. And the sculpture, the statues, the Sappu Tirumeni, as they are called, Sappu is copper. Murtis they made the murtis out of copper in those days. Sometimes Panchalogam, sometimes Swarnam. The Nararaja Murti inside the Koneshwaram temple is reputed to be, is supposed to have been made out of gold and was spirited away and melted. There's one gold murti that is in Chidambaram. The Nataraja murti is solid gold. So, among all the murtis that I have noticed, the ones that the Cholas cast between the 9th to 12th century, their form and their the overall shape of the murtis and their ability to be able to make the ornamentation on the murtis with exquisite detail, I haven't seen reproduced anywhere else. Sappu Tirumeni. But, there are exceptions to this, of course. The Meenakshi temple, that's Pandya based. So there are some beautiful murtis there also. If you want to see one of them, go there and look at the Mukkuruni Pillayar. There's a Ganapati who will be as wide as this room and as tall as this room, exquisitely carved. So this Somas Kandamurti that I saw in Trincomalee, in Tirukonamalai, is one example. The other one, when I was just in the first year, just as I had entered university, I used to go to a Ganapati temple in a town called Vellavattai in Tamil, to chant Skanda Purana. This went on for 2 years or 2.5 years. And every day after classes, I would go there and chant. Now, when we were going to do this Skanda Puranam in this temple, there used to be people, they would say that if you chant Shiva Puranam or Skanda Puranam or Markandeya Puranam, when particular scenes are read, like Daivanayamman Thirumanam, wedding, as we were chanting about the marriage of Daivanayamman, who is Indra's daughter, a couple walked into the temple immediately after their marriage with full garland and full regalia. When we were chanting Palani Padalam, the story of Palani, a couple walked in carrying a kamandalu full of Palani Panjamritam. They had just arrived from Palani. So, it strengthens one's belief in these things. And I think at that age, the curiosity, the fire of curiosity had already been lit. And these little incidents became affirmations. So, Kanchi Mavadi Vaikum Savval, Malaradi Potri Annan, Servalum Mayalum Potri, Tirukaivel Potri Potri. What is this? This one is from Skanda Puranam, Kacheppa Shivacharya Skanda Puranam. And where he says, Mu Viru Muhangal Potri. Mu, 3. Iru, twice 3, 6 faces. Potri, I praise thee. Muham Poli Karune Potri. The grace that is flowing from all 6 faces, I praise that. Evarum Tudikkanendra. Evarum. Everyone, including Asuras, Devas, human beings, rishis, you name it. Thudik and Indra, the ones who were worshipping him. Ir, Ar, Tol, Potri. Ir, 2 times. Ar, 6. So 12. He had 12 hands. Kanchi Mavadi. In Kanchipuram, the mango tree that produces miraculously has been for 3,000 years, 4 different types of fruit every year. I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know. I'm quite convinced that the ancient naturalists or naturists who were in Tamil Nadu, in Kanchipuram, in that area, after the Pallava times, they must have mastered the art of grafting. So Kanchi in Kanchipuram, Mavadi, under the mango tree, Vaigam Chabwal, there is a Somas Kandamurti under that temple, under the tree. But that Somas Kandamurti is made of granite. Now, if you ever go to Kanchipuram and go to Ekambareshwara temple, that is where he is, you go to this courtyard and you must visit him. And spend some time looking at the features of the Devi and the formation of how her body language has been portrayed. As though she has just crystallized. And you see Subramania, a little baby in the middle. The Devi is there, Swami is there. Amazing murti. This is the other most famous place where the Somas Kandamurti is present. The third one, of course, is the most famous Meenakshi Sundareshwara temple. There is a Somas Kandamurti. And because, let's go into slight side avenues, side streets. There are exquisitely carved murtis in other temples also. For example, Chidambaram is one. The Tenupurishwara temple in Tambaram, just outside Chennai. Exquisite carving. And if you go to Andhra, on the way to Devipuram from Visakhapatnam, if you make a small deviation, you will go to the Narasimha Swami temple. And the statues, the murtis, the workmanship on the pillars, unbelievable detailing. Yet, the legend says that this Narasimha Swami temple was built in one night by the Devas. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is there are very detailed murtis even in the Tenupurishwara temple in Tambaram, just outside Chennai, exquisitely carved. And I believe when we went on a pilgrimage once with about 40 or 50 people from this temple, we were given the opportunity to clean the temple and wash all the pillars and everything. And we did. And it gave us an ample opportunity to look at every detail that we did. Anyway, so these 3 temples, Narasimha Swami temple, Simhachalam, Tenupurishwara temple in Tambaram, and Madurai Meenakshi temple in Madurai. All of them have exquisitely carved murtis. I mean, Meenakshi temple, you go there, you don't want to come out. Every pillar, every wall, every statue, every little corner of that temple is exquisitely carved. But there's one difference between all these temples. The other temples, you look at it, Madurai Meenakshi temple, because the Moola Murti is one piece of emerald, and the pujas have been done exquisitely for so many years. The entire temple has an atmosphere of akarshana. There are good examples. At the entrance, there is on one side Veerabhadra Murti, easily over 6-7 feet. And on the other side, Bhadrakali. And the tradition is they will give you butter, vannai, and you will take that and throw it at them. And it will go and stick. And you worship them. But I found, if you look at the murti for more than 20 seconds, your eyes will stay glued there. You won't be able to move. Same with Mukkurni Pullayar. Same with all the other Utsava Murtis, everything. And the feeling of this magnetic attraction is much more when you look at the Mula Murti. Unfortunately, these days, when 1976, I remember, when I went to the temple, I was able to get within 6 feet of the Mula Murti. You could enjoy the features, the way she is made, the decorations. Now, because of this threat of extremism that has been overtaking our country and other countries, the closest you can see the Devi will be about 20 yards away. What can you see from 20 yards? You can't see anything. So in this Madurai Meenakshi temple, the Somas Kandamurti, if you look at it, you want to keep looking at Subramania's face, the baby Balamurugan's face. You want to look at Swami, you want to keep looking at his face. You look at the Devi, the same thing. Where else can you have this experience? Come on a Saturday to the Rajarajeswari Temple where you can go within 3 feet of her. And after she's dressed, undressed, and made ready for bathing, keep looking at her. You won't be able to take your eyes off her. That akarshanam is there. So this is the Somas Kandamurti. Now, there are many temples that will have the Somas Kandamurti, but these temples I have personally experienced. I have visited them. Kanchipuram I have visited many times and stood in front of the statue. Every time you go and stand in front of the Murti, it's like a new experience. So beautiful. Okay, the next one. This is called the Chakra Pradhanam Murti. Chakra Pradhanam Murti. Oh, one other thing with the Somas Kandamurti I have to tell you. The Somas Kandamurti, according to Vyasa's, the Lakshanam, that the Murti Lakshanam in the Skanda Puranam, it says that the Murti was created so that normal human beings will not feel that a child present between the husband and wife is going to be an impediment for their spiritual progress. Many people think, oh, once I have a child, then I have to be worried about this. I won't have time to do puja. If anybody says they don't have time to do puja, that's the worst thing you can. You have enough time to sit and eat. You have enough time to chat with your friends and do that. And in these modern day times, you have enough time to watch television. If you say you don't have 20 minutes to worship the Lord, that's a sin. Now, if you look at the Somas Kandamurti, in his left hand, this is Kanchipuram. Look at the detail. Unfortunately, you can't see the Devi's face, but it is exquisitely done. The Devi is turned towards the baby, and the attention is there. The Subramania is in between Swami and Devi. I don't think you can hardly see him, but he's about there. Ekambareshwara Temple. Eka Ambareshwara Temple. What is Eka? One. From one branch, 4 types of fruit come. And each fruit is supposed to represent one Veda. It so happened that I had the very good fortune to be present there. One day when they had brought that tree had produced fruit and that was offered to them, and a mango was given to me as prasadam. I haven't tasted anything that tasty. Very sweet. I don't know how the others were. But anyway, if you look at, if you can have an Utsav Murti slide, Amma, because they have hidden the deity with flowers. If you can bring it close by, if you have a close-up view of a Somas Kandamurti, please display it. On the left upper hand, you will always notice in all the Somas Kandamurtis, there is a deer. Sometimes in the other murtis, that hand will have fire. It is called Vata Mukha Agni. But in the Somas Kandamurti, it is always a deer. Now, the deer is a warning to you. See, that deer is there. Is a warning to the Grihastha that he should not lose focus of the Swami and the Mother and the Devi and the deities. Because that is called, that man, that Mrigi, is described as Chanchalam, unstable mind. He'll be walking up and down. It will be jumping up and down. Anyway, we'll go to the next one. The next one is called Chakra Pradhanam Murti. Chakra Pradhanam. Now, in the Saiva Tirumurai, in the Panchapuranam that is chanted in the temples, first is Tevaram, done by any one of the three, the trio, Sundaramurti, Tirunavukarasu, or Sambandamurti Nayana. So first one is Tevaram. Second one is Tiruvachakam, second Tirumurai. Third one is Tiruvisaipa. Fourth one is Tirupallandu. Pallandu. That means may you be there forever and ever. As human beings, we are praising Swami and telling him, may you live forever and ever. But that's done out of love and devotion. Palukku Palahan Bendi Ayudida. Patkadal in the Piran. Palukku Palahan. A little child was crying because it wanted milk and the mother was nowhere near. Patkadal in the Piran. So Swami instantaneously created a tank full of milk for that child. Palukku Palahan Bendi Aludida cried, the child cried. Patkadal in the Piran. Swami gave the milk to him. It's an interesting story because listen carefully, you know that there is a personal connection between our temple and this. Malukku. Who is Mal? Tirumal. Tirumal means Mahavishnu. Malukku Chakaram. The chakra that Sudarshana chakra that Tirumal, Vishnu is holding. Andru Arul Seidavan. He is the one who gave it then. Swami gave the chakra to Tirumal, to Vishnu. Malliya Tillai Tannul. Tillai is Chidambaram. Alikkum, where the pujas are done by Andanar, by the Brahmins, called Dikshitas. Alikkum Andanar Valgendra, Tillai Chittambalame Idamara, in Chidambaram. Palithu. Palithu is to give the grace. Arul Palithu. Nattam Paila Vallaneke, the one who gives the grace. Pallandu Kurudume. Let's praise him that he lived forever. Now, there used to be a lady. Most of the people who are in the listening audience may have met her. She never married. She was a teacher. I knew her when she was working for the government in the education department in Zambia. I was in the buildings department in the Ministry of Power Transport. She was in the education department. She used to be posted to outside the capital. It's a 250,000 square mile country. And she used to come to Lusaka, which is the capital where we lived, for vacations, and she would spend time with us. But I could tell from that time, she had a deep, deep devotion for Nataraja, Shiva. And after we came to America, she moved to Canada. And she would come and spend time at the Rajarajeswari Peetham, at our temple. And she would collect clothing. That is what once the Devi or the deities wear once, it is not used again in this temple. That is her grace. We have nothing to do with it. Even when the mother was in my house, now at least it's a public temple where people come and worship. When she was in my house, once a week, from where it comes, God alone knows. Before Thursday, a brand new silk sari would have come by mail. She has never, ever worn the same sari on 2 occasions. And likewise, all the other deities. So, there are Navagraha Murtis, there's Subramanya, Ardhanarishwara, Dattatreya, and so on and so forth. She would collect those. Because she would tell me, there are temples in India where the piece of cloth that they wear on the deity after giving Abhishekam, you cannot tell what color it is because it is so bad. And I noticed it once when I had gone to India. So I told Teacher Party, she was called Teacher Party, take whatever you want. There she is. This is the lady. So she would faithfully sit there and iron those things and pack them into suitcases and take them to India whenever she goes. And she is all over South India, everywhere. Any temple that she feels that they don't have enough this thing, she will distribute these things and go like that. Like this, one day, the Tiruvachakam that was sung by Manikavasa was done about half a mile from Tillai, from Chidambaram temple. Somehow she found out where this place was and went there. And that place had been overrun. That means, which is a very standard practice in Tamil Nadu. I don't know how it is in other states. People encroach. And they won't think twice about covering the Moola Murti and then building a shelter for themselves and sleeping there and cooking there and doing all that. And the place was completely surrounded with garbage and open sewers. Somehow or the other, she contacted the people who were responsible for the Saiva Mahasabha in Chidambaram, which incidentally was started by Armo Navalar about 100 years, 200 years ago. She started finding out who this thing belongs to and found out that it was independent temple. So she got a hold of other people with the help of the Dikshitas in Chidambaram. By this time, she had been to Chidambaram so many times, she knew all of them. 317 families, and she knew all of them. And they took her to various places. She quietly, patiently, little by little, she chipped away at the complete covering of Maya, I should say. Finally got the approval from the district collector. He signed the affidavit, which was taken to court and registered. And this temple was now registered under the Saiva Mahasabha, so nobody can touch it now. And she renovated it. Single-handedly, you see, she was an old lady. Single-handedly renovated the thing, organized it in such a way. The Saiva Mahasabha immediately said, we will have somebody do puja there. And the persons who do puja there, they are not Dikshitas. They're Saivites who are completely fluent in the Tirumurais. So a bachelor, I was there one day. Morning puja, somebody comes and they will completely clean the temple, do the abhishekam, everything, and with Tirumurai they will do the puja. Now while she was doing it, next door there was a private school run by a Chettiar or somebody like that, wealthy fellow. She went through the same process. This time she ran into many roadblocks. Even with that, they were trying to build something there. That's when she got alarmed. She filed action. And these people helped her. And naturally, Nataraja, wouldn't he know how much of devotion this lady has had? He made it in such a way she won the court case. And they blocked the place. And even after that, even after the court had given this thing, she was threatened. The people around her were threatened, but she didn't. She said, I am already 70 years old. What do I care whether they kill me or not? And they excavated this tank where Swami gave milk to that little child. It is still there. If you go to Chidambaram, you can see it. Both of them are on one side by side. On the right side of the temple where Manikavasa sang and Swami wrote the Trivasam is the Patkadal, Tirupatkadal. On the left side of this temple, which is now functioning, on the left side of it, there is a Samadhi. It is called Guru Namah Shivaya Samadhi. I think I have gone over the time, but this next time, before I go into the next murti, I will tell you about the Guru Namah Shivaya story. Okay? We'll look at questions, please.
Is there any temples where the main murti is Ardhanarishwara?
The main murti in any Shivalayam, people, the main murti is always a Shivalingam. That is called Moolavar. The Parivara Murtis, just like the Parivara Murti of Ardhanarishwara is there in our temple, that Ardhanarishwara that is there is a Parivaram. In a temple called Tiruchankodu, after which our Murti is modeled. Tiruchankodu, one of the Parivara Murti, is very prominent Ardhanarishwara Murti. It won't be the main Murti. In a house, if you are going to have a Murti, and you want to have an Ardhanarishwara, you are allowed. Because in a griham, none of the rules for size, once you have exceeded the size and you have started to do puja, none of those things apply. That is why normally in houses, they will think below the anguli, that is thumb size, below that. That is why you see all the kuti murtis are there in all the houses. But if you are an upasaka and you are serious about your upasana, you can maintain a murti in your house by doing Trikala Puja, Ekakala Puja, but it has to be done properly and it has to be maintained like a temple. Next question.
Why is the Navagraha Sanishvara given the title Ishvara?
Why is the Navagraha Shanishvara given the title Ishvara? Because he did tapas, and that title of Ishvara was given to him by Swami. Who are the other two? The other one is Sandeshwara, the one who is there on the northern side of the temple facing south towards the Shivalingam. That deity where people go and clap their hands. He's the one who is supposed to be immersed in Siva Dhyanam, and you have to wake him up and tell him, I have finished my worship, give me the value of this puja. The other one is who? Nandigeshwara. One more is there. Ravaneshwara. Ravana also had the title. So don't get carried away by the poetical excesses that have been written about Ravana. Mahaperiyava, the 68th Acharya Pattam of Kanchipuram, Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Swamigal used to say that he was not the demon that they make him out to be. And these details are found in a text called Adi Atma Ramayanam. There are 17 versions of the Ramayanam, very popular in various parts of India. The one that is most popular in Kerala is called Adi Atma Ramayanam. All these details are there. So, Ravaneshwara, Nandigeshwara, Sandeshwara, and Shaneshwara. Next question.
Is there a legend associated with Bhrigu Maharishi wanting to only go around Shiva?
Yes. I should have covered this on, I just mentioned it in passing. Bhrigu was an extremely devoted Shiva Bhakta. But he did not think that Shakti was important, not realizing that they were two sides of the same coin. Shiva is there. It's a static reality. That means everything has been reabsorbed and the Shiva Lingam is just existing. Now, a movement has to happen for creation to start. If Shiva is going to be eternally inside deep tapas, how will this happen? Shiva's grace is the one that is personified as the Devi. Shiva's grace, remember. This fellow, in his, I wouldn't say ignorance, one-track mind, you will meet up with people like that. There are people who think this is the way to do it and no other. It's like looking at the world with black and white eyes. If you do that, you will miss all the beautiful shades of grey and the beautiful scenarios that she and he will concoct for you. If you are looking only for black and white, you will find. In Tamil, they are called Tiviruvadigal. Swami is not like that. He is the whole cosmos, everything, good, bad, ugly, ill-smelling, perfumed, all of that, everything is there inside. You can't separate him from anything because he is there in everything. If you separate him, he is limited. So this fellow used to always think, this lady is seated right next to my Swami. I only want to worship him. I don't want to worship her. So every time he went to Kailash, he would take the form of a fly and quickly go between them. You know, this also is there in all the places. There's always a troublemaker. The divine troublemaker is Narada. He will sing his way into any place. Sing. He was a great musician. He will sing his way into any assembly or assembly of gods or assembly of rishis or anybody. He will sing his way. By the time they are concentrating on the singing and the beautiful music he is producing, he has already come inside. He came and kuchu find Sri Devi. Do you know that this fellow Brigu is coming and going in between you and he is only worshipping Shiva? There is a beautiful Tamil line. It says, Vama Bhagate Vavyade. Vama Bhagam is left side. Vavyade means she closed the gap. And he was right in the middle. He was in the process of going across when she closed the gap. And what would any child do when you are hurt? You don't say Appa, you say Amma. The moment he said Amma, she relented. The motherliness came and she forgave him. And then after that, he's supposed to have been able to go around both of them. Shiva Shakti Aikya Rupani, even the Lalita Sahasranamam says that you cannot separate. One of the mistakes that Ravana made was that he wanted only this. And according to Adhyatma Ramayanam, Rama is Shakti. Sita is Shiva. A story is told, if you look at the original Ramayanam, after Janaka found Sita in the field, she is growing up. She's about 4 years old. And you know, when she was found, she was also found with a box containing Shiva Dhanasu. Dhanasu is bow belonging to Shiva. And 12 of sturdy soldiers from Janaka's army had to carry that box and come and. So it was on the side, on the palace. And one day, Janaka was sitting and watching Sita with pride and joy. She was playing with her friends. And they used to make a ball with flowers. With a flower garland, they will make it into a ball and then play with that. This ball went under the box. And as Janaka was watching, she came and with a big toe of a foot, gently pushed the box aside and took the ball. And Janaka was thinking, my God, who is this one? It took 12 of my soldiers to carry this. She just pushed it with a toe. So we went and asked Vasishta. Then Vasishta explains to him, saying, don't you know that's Shiva who has come? And she will cause the Asura Kulam, that entire generation to be destroyed. This is the reason Ravana took her and kept her. He was a decent fellow. He was a king of kings. He owned so many thousand palaces. He could have kept her in there. He kept her in the open so everybody could see. If you read Adhyatma Ramayanam, you will find out these stories. Okay, next question and last question.
What are the 16 places where you wear Vibhuti?
What are the 16 places where you wear Vibhuti? First one, of course, is forehead. Even when you wear the Vibhuti, there are two ways of doing it. Vibhuti should not fall on the ground. So you have to be careful, because if somebody tramples the Vibhuti, that's Shiva Paradam. So you wear it so that there are 3 lines on your forehead. With your middle finger, which is long, if you wear the Vibhuti, the middle line will be longer. And the other 2 will be shorter. Where do you see this? Where else do you see this? As a Sri Vidya Upasaka, the trapezium that is above the triangle, here is the trapezium. See? Like this. In that, the 3 lines of the Gurus, Ogatrayam, Divyauga, Manauga, Siddhauga. Now you know the meaning. So you wear the Vibhuti there, first one. Then, second one, Om Namah Shivaya. Panchaksharam has to be chanted when you wear the Vibhuti. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, just below your, just above your, the elbow. Then, just after the elbow. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wrist, 6. Okay? Then, from your, to your stomach, from the side. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? 8. And with the other hand, same. And if you go, you will come up with 7. The last one is at the back of your head, at the nape of your neck, Pidari. These 8 places, Vibhuti should not be worn below the waist. Please remember. Vibhuti, gold, should not be worn below the waist. I know of a young man. He was deeply in love. And on his wedding day, he wanted to present the bride with anklets. And he thought, oh my God, she's so valuable, so precious to me. I will give her gold. 2 days before the wedding, he called me and asked me. Something must have told him. I had no idea. And when I told him, you can't wear gold below your waist. Of course, when you go to Toronto, there are so many jewelry shops, you can buy this ready-made. Silver you can. So Vibhuti, you cannot wear below the waist. Thank you very much. We will see you next week, God willing. Namaskaram.
Thank you, Ayya, for sharing more knowledge about the various forms of Shiva. The knowledge you have shared is a true gift, and we're excited to learn more about the various forms in the upcoming sessions. To all, to access any content from prior sessions, please visit srividya.org/aym-lectures. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us for today's session. At this time, we will hand it over to Vyasanko to begin today's yoga session.
Greetings to all of you and my pranams to Ayya and all the devotees, members of the Sri Vidya Temple and Ashtanga Yoga Mandir and all those who are viewing these sessions. One of the most important aspects in the practice of yoga, primarily, there are different layers of expectations. There are different ways and techniques and methods. But one of the most expected thing in the world of the present time is that the people feel that they should be away from pain. If they have to be away from pain, different types of pain, the primary thing, the body, the mind, emotions has to become stronger. The immunity of the system has to be strong. So for one of the most effective and the most easiest practice to increase the immunity of the system is what we are going to do today. So you can do this practice while seated on the floor or when you are seated on the chair, anything, any way you can do these practices. So when you start doing this practice that activates the complete system in a subtle way, and if you just try it for even for 27 days or for a half a mandala, or even if you try it for a mandala, you will see a tremendous change. So how do you do the practice? You bring your palms, both your right and left, in Adi Mudra. Adi Mudra is basically, this is the thumb, this is your small finger. You take the thumb and then place it at the end of the index finger, and then you close it. That's why it's called as the Adi Mudra. Why is it called as the Adi Mudra? Adi means primary or ancient. Here, the meaning comes as Adi, as the primary. Why it is called as the primary is because when the child is in the womb, the palm is kept in this way. And that's why it's called as the Adi Mudra. So this is considered as one of the most effective practices. So even like when you go on tightening, we do that in the DRT or in the Yoga Nidra practices to increase immunity. And then, so you take it like this, place it, one knuckle over the knuckle. So this is your base knuckle, place it like this, and then you slowly start moving this practice. So apart from us, even for special need children, and even for those who are having early stages or different stages of the Parkinson's, we give this technique. So here the elbow has to be straight, and then consciously you go on doing this movement. Sometimes when you do this movement based on the frequency, based on the movement, we will be able to understand how the hand is based. Sometimes for some people it will come out. Understand? So you make the middle base knuckles gripped. Always have to ensure that you maintain this. You go on doing this for 27 counts, then you relax. You can even keep it down and relax yourself. And then take it up again. 27 counts, normal breathing. And all of you know how to do the Dirgha Swasa. So when you do this practice, add the Dirgha Swasa. Relax. And then again, you do 27. So like that, you go on doing 27 of 4 counts. So that becomes into 108. Once you finish that, place, this is your navel region. So from your, so if you just take one sun, place it here, and then slowly start moving forward. So all these practices, even from the chair, you can do it. Slowly start moving. So generally you keep it like this. You can also keep it like this, which is comfortable, which will make you to move forward more. Be there. And then slowly relax yourself. So this basic two techniques increases the inner potentiality of an individual. So practice this, and then you will see little by little, you'll be able to see that your immunity. So basically what happens is that, what is the difference between the immunity? Is that if you take our food we have in the morning, by afternoon it goes out. Then you have to consume something, and then you have to have. So always you need to go on putting into the system. But if you have in a position where you can keep the power of the immunity for a longer time, that is the energy preservation for a longer time, even sometimes, even if you skip a meal, then that will not affect your health. So sometimes, some people, they do fasting because of the devotion, but sometimes the fasting leads into diseases. So you can't tell them to stop the fasting. Teach them this technique. Do this technique. That will give the support for them to follow the vratas in a very proper manner. So thank you very much to Ayya and all the members and all the viewers. Will finish the sessions with the Shanti Mantra. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.